Hello, hello, hello! New week, same play. Hi, welcome back to Romeo and Juliet live. And let's bang straight onto it. Romeo's met Juliet. Juliet says she's going to send somebody to Romeo to arrange, to ask if he still likes her. And if that's the case, then they'll get married really suddenly and quickly, let's be honest here. But hey, well, like I say, whether they're rushing into it or not, that's something you have to think about. The very last bit of the scene was Benvolio and Mercutio having a chat and saying that Tybalt has sent a challenge to Romeo. He's challenged him to a duel. Yeah, a fight to the death. Oh, awkward, especially as we all know that Tybalt is a bit tasty when it comes to sword fighting. I've skipped a little bit because it's not really important apart from one element, which I'll explain now. Romeo turns up. Now, remember, Romeo's been... Oh, hang on. Can you hear me? I just realised my microphone's not in the right place. Beg your pardon. Hope you could hear me all right then. Anyway, Romeo was lovesick and talking rubbish before, wasn't he? Moping around, being sulky. Well, now, when he turns up, he's joking around with Mercutio and Benvolio. Particularly Mercutio, because he's a big joker. So, yeah, Mercutio is happy because Romeo seems to be back to his normal self. Which is where we'll pick up Mercutio basically saying, "Oh, I'm glad you're back to normal, Romeo. You're a laugh again. Thank heavens for that." So here he goes, "Why, is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable. Now art thou Romeo. Now art thou what thou art by art as well as nature. For this drivelling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole." So good, now you're back to normal. Now you are Romeo again. Love makes people crazy. And then he goes a little bit rude, talking about love being like somebody who's stupid running up and down, trying to hide something in a hole. Yeah, Benvolio, whoa, calm down, mate. Stop there. Oh, Benvolio, get me buttons sorted, didn't I? Stop there, stop there. Thou desirest me to stop in my tale against the hair. Thou wouldst else have made thy tale large. Everything is rude in Shakespeare. I am going to waste time going through it just now. Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short, for I was come to the whole depth of my tale, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer. And Romeo then interrupts the smutty talk, because he sees a bit of a weird sight. Now, he doesn't know who she is properly, but it's the nurse and her servant Peter. And the nurse is, of course, Juliet's messenger, but the penny hasn't dropped for Romeo, so he says, "Here's goodly gear. Oh, look at the state of this," because it's a bit of a weird sight. The nurse is all dressed up fancily because she's on this big, important job, and she has a big sort of dress on, which is floating in the wind, and so they start making fun, saying it looks like a ship's coming, like the dress is a sail, so they start making fun of her, and Romeo will join in. Until he realises who she is, of course. So just wind her up at first, yeah? "A sail! A sail! Two, a shirt and a smock!" Oops, where's nurse gone? There she is. "Peter? Anon? My fan, Peter." So she's trying to act all posh and ladylike. Yeah, "Give me my fan." You know your fan that you fan your face with? Yeah? Must look fancy. Mercutio makes fun of her. Good Peter to hide her face, for her fan's the fairer face. Yeah, Peter, give her a fan, because it'll hide her ugly face. Charming. "God ye good morrow, gentlemen. God ye good den, fair gentlewoman. Is it good den? 'Tis no less, I tell you, for the bawdy hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon." Taking a mick, she says good morning, he says good afternoon, and as you can see there, because like I said, any rude looking word is going to be rude in Shakespeare. Just most of that sort of language is exactly the same, hasn't changed. He's just using this as an excuse to say something rude to her. Yeah, he's a character, old Mercutio, isn't he? She the nurse will be shocked by this, and Romeo will start joining in the joke, but he's joining in the joke more making fun of Mercutio. Out upon you! What a man are you! One gentlewoman that God hath made himself to mar. By my troth it's well said, for himself to mar, quotha. Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I may find the young Romeo? I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you found him than he was when you sought him. I am the youngest of that name, for fault of a worse. You say, well, yea is the worst well, very well took in faith. Wisely, wisely. Do you notice here that this is no longer in the iambic pentameter, it's no longer in the rhythm of lines of 10 syllables, which vary between stressed and unstressed. Because now this is rude street talk, so it's informal language, and they're winding the nurse up. So because of that, it's just laid out like a normal script, like normal talk. Yeah. She's going to say, the nurse, and she wants to speak to Romeo in private. Unfortunately, she will use the wrong word. She desires some confidence, is what she'll say, rather than conference, and this will lead them to make fun of her and claim that she is a bawd, that she is a prostitute. Okay? If you be he, sir, I desire some confidence with you. Even boring Benvolio's joining in. She will invite him to some supper. Aboard, 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 so-ho! What hast thou found? No hare, sir, unless a hare, sir, in a Lenten pie. That is something stale and hoar ere it be spent. And he then sings a song. I'm not going to bother singing the song. But basically what it is, this is a weird thing, game meats. So often it's meat that has been hunted. Pheasant and things like that. And hare, as it mentions there. Game meats are then hung. I know it sounds odd, this, but apparently they taste better if after they are killed they're hung to go a little bit rotten, just a little bit rotten, and apparently that sort of meat tastes better when it's sort of on the turn to being rotten. Weird. And so basically, rather offensively, Mercutio is trying to say she's a prostitute, but also she's like old game, you know, she's an old woman, she's on the turn sort of thing to going rotten. Charming. I had game, I've hardly had game ever, but I remember having at a wedding these little quails once and nearly broke my tooth because they were, poor thing, there were little metal pellets inside, which was the metal shot from the gun that killed it. Okay, this is feeling a bit close to reliving the poor thing's last moments. Romeo's realised now, hang on, I gotta stop taking the mick here, because this is the messenger, innit? He's realised now, so he says, I will follow you. Mercutio's still after her. Farewell, ancient lady, farewell, lady. And he and Benvolio go, and now nurse gets a bit of quiet talk with Romeo, because she's got this job, hasn't she, to do. But first she's a bit annoyed about Mercutio. She's a bit annoyed that he was so cheeky to her, and he's a bit annoyed. She's also annoyed that Peter didn't stand up for her. Marry, farewell, I pray you, sir. What saucy merchant was this that was so full of his ropery? A gentleman nurse that loves to hear himself talk, and will speak more in a minute than he will stand to in a month. Yeah? So Romeo tries to calm her down. She, who the hell is he? Look, he's a bloke that loves hearing his own voice, and he'll say more in a minute than he'll do in a month. Yeah, he'll keep saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but ignore him. He's all mouth, no action. Yeah. And as speak anything against me, I'll take him down an hour were lustier than he is, and 20 such jacks. And if I cannot, I'll find those that shall. Scurvy knave, I'm none of his flirt gills, I'm none of his skeins mates, and thou must stand by too and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure. I saw no man use you at pleasure. If I had, my weapon should quickly have been out, I warrant you. I dare draw as soon as another man if I see occasion in a good quarrel and the law is on my side. Peter, you cheeky devil. Oh, rude double entendre. Double entendre when something has two meanings. You know, he says, I didn't see anyone use you at his pleasure, as the nurse said. And the nurse means it like, you know, he has his fun with me by making fun of me. But you can imagine how that could mean, that could be taken another way to have his fun with her. And although he says I'd draw my weapon if I saw that happening, but yeah, that can have a double meaning. So Peter scoring some cheeky points off her. And just out for interest, by the way, is a basic Shakespearean word that died. Language changes. Ah, see that? And speak anything against me, I'll take him down an hour lustier than he is. Yeah. Means he, in Shakespeare's time. So it's a slangy word for he. Right. She's annoyed. Now, for God, I'm so vexed that every part about me quivers. Scurvy knave, pray you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bade me inquire you out. What she bade me say, I'll keep to myself. But first, let me tell you, if you should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behaviour, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore, if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak dealing. So the nurse basically warning Romeo now. Right, my Juliet's got a message, but before I bring it to you, I'm warning you, don't you dare mess her around. Don't. And notice Shakespeare here. Shakespeare's invented an awful lot of phrases that are still used now. And there's a couple. If you should deal double with her, yeah, double dealing. We use that now, don't we? And the other one here, a fool's paradise. Yeah, people still say that. A place that a fool thinks is good, but it's not. Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee. Good heart, and in faith I will tell her as much. Lord, she'll be a joyful woman. What wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me. I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer. So to explain that, Romeo and I will say, bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall, at Friar Lawrence's cell, be shrived and married. Here is for thy pains. So, he says, tell her, yeah, I'm still up for it. Tell her to come to Friar Lawrence's cell this afternoon. We'll get married. Again, yeah, they have fallen head over heels in love. It is love, but whoa, isn't this quick? So this afternoon, they met last night. They get married this afternoon. Woo-wee, pop noodle marriage. He tries to give her a tip, some money, thank you for doing that. And she tries to be sort of, oh no, truly, sir, not a penny. Go to, I say you shall. So he insists she takes the money. This afternoon, sir, well, she shall be there. And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high top gallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell, be trusty, and I'll quit my pains. Farewell, commend me to thy mistress. My servant will throw a rope ladder over the walls to let Juliet come out without being noticed. Sorry. Now, God in heaven bless thee. Hark you, sir. And she's just checking that, can we trust your servant? Yes, my man is, again, another phrase. My man's as true as steel. Yeah. The nurse gives a little speech about how lovely Juliet is, because she loves her like her daughter, doesn't she? Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing. Oh, so she starts off gossiping, chatty, but then she warns Romeo about Paris. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard, but she, good soul, had as lief see a toad, a very toad, as see him. Yeah, so Paris wants to marry her. That amazing phrase. He wants to lay his knife aboard. Again, that's rude. Think about it, but don't think about it. But also, the idea of you're a pirate and you're boarding a ship to take control of it. And you've got the knife in your hand and you're climbing up the side of the ship. And when you get to the top, you put your hand on the ship. You lay your knife aboard because the knife's in your hand ready to fight. Oh, wow. I claim her. But she would rather see a toad than him, yeah? I anger her sometimes and tell her that Paris is the properer man. But I'll warrant you, when I say so, she looks as pale as any cloud in the versal world. Yeah? So I make fun of her sometimes. I try to wind her up And I try to tell her that he's better than you, but she just looks paler than any cloth in the world. Aww. So anyway, it's just chattery after this. Peter comes, takes the fan, and now we're in Juliet's orchard. Oh, this is a great scene. Here's a nurse at her best, I promise you. Poor old Juliet is waiting. And you can imagine how desperate she is for the nurse to come back and tell her that whether Romeo will marry her or not. Oh, she's really on edge. This speech is great. Her just talking about how time is passing so slowly and how desperate she is to hear the news and how frustrated at the end she is, and at the start as well, by the nurse. Why did I send her? She's an old woman. She's slow. It's a great speech. It's a combination of frustration and desperation to hear the outcome, and also of a young person getting really frustrated with old people. It's nice. So, the clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half an hour she promised to return, but chance she cannot meet him. Now that's not so. Oh, she is lame. Love's heralds should be thoughts which 10 times faster glide in the sun's beams, driving back shadows over lowering hills. Therefore do nimble pinioned doves draw love, and therefore hath the wind swift Cupid wings. Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey, and from 9 till 12 hours, yet she is not come. Had she affections and warm youthful blood, she'd be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would bandy her to my sweet love, and his to me. But old folks, many feigned as they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, and pale as lead. Oh God, she comes! So she's annoyed. She's been gone 3 hours. She went off at 9, and now the sun is at the top of its journey. So we've now had, it's 3 hours since she's gone. It's midday. And she's so frustrated. And that bit at the end, old people are so slow and heavy. Oh God. But no, she's coming. She's excited now. So she's going to rush along and say, oh, 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 nurse, nurse, nurse. But, think about this. Remember what a nurse is like? She doesn't like to say something straight away. It's the opposite of what Juliet wants. Nurse knows it as well. And she's going to wind her up. You know, like on I'm a Celebrity, when they come back from winning the little mini task and they pretend they've lost. Nurse is going to do that sort of thing to Juliet. She's going to say, oh, I can't talk, I'm too tired, and wind her up. Classic nurse. So first, look at Juliet quickly changing from old people are awful to, oh, honey nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him? Send thy man away. Peter, stay at the gate, so he goes. Now, good, sweet nurse, oh, Lord, why look'st thou sad? Though news be sad, yet tell them merrily. If good thou shamest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with so sour a face. Yeah, why you look so sad? And nurse is playing her up now, and she, I am a-weary, give me leave a while. Fie, how my bones ache, what a jaunt I've had. Oh, I wouldst thou had my bones, and I thy news. Nay, come, I pray thee, speak, good nurse, speak. Jesu, what haste, can you not stay a while? Do you not see I'm out of breath? How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath? A line which, if you say it properly, makes you run out of breath. It's great, isn't it? Oh, I can't tell you yet because can't you see I'm out of breath? And oh, you've got enough breath to say you're out of breath. So just tell me, what did he say? It's a fair point. But the nurse is winding her up. The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. What you're saying and saying I'm too tired to speak is longer than just telling me if you said yes or no. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say either and I'll stay the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is it good or bad? Well, do you really think the nurse is going to give her a nice quick answer? She's only just begun. Well, you've made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo, no, not he, though his face be better than any man's, yet his leg excels all men's. And for a hand and a foot and a body, though they be not to be talked on, yet they are past compare. He is not the flower of courtesy, but I'll warrant him as gentle as a lamb. Go thy ways, wench. Serve God. What, have you dined at home? So she just waffles on about Romeo without saying anything, and then she says, have you eaten yet? Poor Juliet's going nuts. No, no, but all this did I know before. What says he of our marriage? What of that? Oh, Lord, how my head aches. What a head have I. It beats that it would fall in 20 pieces. My back, oh, the other side, oh, my back. Beshrew your heart for sending me about to catch my death with jaunting up and down. You shouldn't send me out and tie me out like this. And now, so Juliet, from frustration, is going to try a different tactic. A bit of grovelling, but the nurse is going to have a hell of a comeback to this. In faith, I'm sorry that thou art not well. Sweet, sweet, sweet nurse, tell me, what says my love? Your love says, oh, is he getting somewhere? Like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, and a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous. Where's your mother? Oh, Romeo and Juliet can't believe that. Romeo says, where's my mother? Where's my mother? Why, she's within. Where should she be? How oddest thou repliest, your love says, like an honest gentleman, where's your mother? Oh, God's lady dear, are you so hot? Marry, come up, I trow. Is this the poultice for my aching bones? Henceforth do your messages yourself. He is such a coil. Come, what says Romeo? Yeah, so the nurse. Oh, don't talk to me like that. You send me a message and you have a go at me. Ooh, he is such a coil. It's like this is a riddle. It's complicated. It's all curled up. Yeah? But now nurse is actually going to get round. She's had a bit of fun. She's going to get round to it. She's going to finish winding her up. Have you got leave to go to shrift today? I have. Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence's cell. There stays a husband to make you a wife. Now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. They'll be in scarlet straight at any news. Hie you to church, I must another way, to fetch a ladder by the which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it is dark, and the drudge and toil in your delight, but ye shall bear the burden soon at night. Go, out to dinner. Hie thee to the cell. Hie to high fortune, honest nurse, farewell. So she's told her the good news, get to Friar Lawrence's cell, and you will be married. So, yeah, cell, okay, yeah, it's just like, he just lives in this, well, I don't know, it implies a little room. I suppose monks were expected to live quite basically. It's where Lawrence lives, basically, where he is. The other, I was going to say something else then, the phrase that was coming up a lot. Oh, shrift and shrive. It's confession. So before marriage, somebody would go to confession. And they did say about to shrive and marry this day in the last scene. So before you get married, you do your confession, so you have no sins on you. Then you get married. Yeah. So she's still there to do that. The nurse gets a bit of rude stuff in there as well. So she tells her the good news, and when she tells her that yes, it's a yes, she says, oh, now the wanton blood's come up in your cheeks. And Juliet's excited hearing the news, and her cheeks start to blush, and they'll be in scarlet straight at any news. Yeah, tonight they'll be even redder, because Rumpy Pumpy makes it go, your cheeks go red. She says, I'm the drudge and toil in your delight. I am the hard worker that makes your delight happen. But you shall bear the burden soon at night. Yeah, you will be carrying some weight on you tonight, if you see what I mean. Right, Friar Lawrence's cell, and now Friar Lawrence is there with Romeo. Is that Friar Lawrence? Yeah, that's strange. So smile the heavens upon this holy act, that after hours of sorrow chide us not. He's aware, he did say, didn't he? He'll do this because maybe it'll bring the families together. But he is aware this is a possible risk, which is what you'll see in this little scene before Juliet arrives. Yeah? Oh, heavens smile on this. Please don't tell us off afterwards because it was wrong. Yeah? Romeo, of course, can't see anything wrong with this, can he? Bless him. Amen, amen. But come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight. Do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death, do what he dare. It is enough I may but call her mine. So I don't care about death. I don't care about bad things. They can't outweigh 1 minute in her company. Aww. And this is an important little section if you're looking at the idea that they are rushing into it. Lawrence just warning him, you shouldn't rush into stuff. These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and water. I was desperate to say flour and water. I managed to say fire. I'll start that again. These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. Therefore, love moderately. Long love doth so. Too swift arrives, as tardy as too slow. So, violent delights have violent ends. Violent delights, violence not in a pejorative sense, not in a sense of actually beating people up, but in the sense of just it's very quick and very sudden. Your quick and sudden delights can have sudden ends and in their triumph die. It's all so passionate and dramatic and quick, and it can all end so quickly as well. And it just as it's all feeling great, it can all be destroyed. Like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. So old-fashioned guns, you'd put the gunpowder down the barrel, and then when you pulled the trigger, you make a spark, and the fire and powder, they kiss, they meet, and then they consume each other, and everything's gone. Yeah, beautiful, wonderful love, but too passionate. Oh, and it's there, glorious for a moment, and then it's gone. The sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness, and the taste confounds the appetite. Honey, oh, it's so sweet, it's so lovely, it's nice, but if you keep eating it, you will lose your appetite because you'll feel sick. So it's wonderful and sweet and lovely, but also loathsome. Yeah, and this duality we see throughout this play of good and bad things. Love is good, but passionate love can be amazing and then bad. Yeah, sweet honey, lovely but horrible. Yeah, and so he says, love moderately, love calmly. Yeah, be in love, but not in this dramatic way. Long love doth so. Yeah? If you love calmly, it lasts a long time. It's a bit like Dev and Malcolm, isn't it? You all love cricket. Okay, maybe not. Dev Malcolm was a fast bowler, English bowler in the 90s, cricketer. And he was super fast. And when he was able to put it in the right spot, he was sensational. But he was not able to put it in the right spot very often. So when he put it in the right spot, he'd be amazing and he'd win the match for you. But if he wasn't having a good day, he was terrible. It's that sort of thing, isn't it? Something that's only dramatically good for a short spell of time. On hindsight, that's a really poor comparison. But I have now compared Shakespeare and Devon Malcolm, and I'm sort of proud of that. And Juliet's turned up. And this is a nice poetic little phrase by Friar Lawrence. Here comes the lady, oh, so light of foot will ne'er wear out the everlasting flint. A lover may bestride the gossamer, the idols, and the wanton summer air, and yet not fall. So light is vanity. Yeah? She's so delicate and beautiful that her light foot would never wear out the stone that she's running on. And a lover can walk on gossamer. You know, you see like in the air, like things like spiders' webs in the summer. Yeah, a lover can walk on them and not fall because they tread so lightly. Yeah. Good evening to my ghostly confessor. Romeo shall thank thee, daughter. As much to him, else his thanks too much. Ah, Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like water blazing it, then sweeten with thy breath this neighbour air, and let rich music's tongue unfold the imagined happiness that both receive in either by this dear encounter, if you feel like me, wonderful thing. Conceit, more rich in matter than in words, brags of his substance, not of ornament. They are but beggars that can count their worth. But my true love is grown to such excess, I cannot sum of half my wealth. Yeah, people who can count their money, they're just beggars compared to us. My true love is real wealth. I can't even explain how much wealth I have because it's love. Come with me and we'll make short work, for by your leaves you shall not stay alone till Holy Church incorporate two in one, and they all leave. So, right, come with me. I am now going to make you married. The Holy Church will make two into one. So, Romeo and Juliet are married. Is it too much of a rush? Is this a good or a bad idea? There's only one way to find out, folks. Well, there's two ways to find out. You can read the book or ask somebody who's read the book. Well, there's three ways you could do it. But I'd recommend joining me same time tomorrow, 10 o'clock, for more Romeo and Juliet. And with that, my friends, I bid you adieu. Shakespeare words. Cool.